Today, I want to dive into Eastern traditions and concepts that surround the idea of consciousness. I made a separate video on metaphysical and philosophical foundations of consciousness, which I'll keep in the show notes below, that largely focused on Western traditions. And to be comprehensive, I want to discuss Eastern traditions regarding consciousness as well. We can start our discussion with Hinduism. Within Hinduism, there are distinct schools of thought, or darsana, that look at consciousness in different lights. In Advaita Vedanta, consciousness, or Atman, is not seen as a byproduct of the brain or an emergent property. Instead, it is understood as the ultimate irreducible reality, identical with Brahman, the absolute ground truth of existence. According to this view, all experiences, perceptions, and mental activities are possible only because they are illuminated by consciousness itself. Consciousness is not something the self has, rather, self is consciousness. The Upanishadic phrase tatyam asi, or thou art that, encapsulates this insight. The individual self, Atman, is fundamentally identical to the universal reality, Brahman. The apparent diversity of the world, objects, thoughts, sensations, even one's own body and mind, is understood as Maya, an illusion or misapprehension that veils the truth of oneness. This doesn't mean that the world doesn't exist at all, but that we misunderstand its nature. What we take to be solid, independent entities are actually transient appearances within the field of consciousness. Just as waves are inseparable from the ocean, but not the ocean in its totality, the phenomenal world is inseparable from Brahman, yet does not define it. Liberation or moksha comes from realizing this non dual truth, that behind the flux of experience lies the unchanging, luminous reality of consciousness itself. In the Samkhya system, one of the oldest schools of Indian philosophy and part of the Hindu tradition, reality is described as a duality between Purusha and Prakriti.